You think you know yourself. You think the story you tell the world, the face you show, the strengths you list, the dreams you share, is the whole truth. But it's not. Beneath that polished image, beneath the version of you that you've carefully curated for survival, something deeper lives, something darker, something older, something waiting. Carl Jung called it the shadow, not because it's evil, not because it's wrong, but because it's hidden, pushed out of sight, rejected, buried in the basement of your consciousness. Your anger you were told to suppress, your desires you were taught to be ashamed of, your fears you learned to silence, your talents you were too afraid to claim. Every part of you that didn't fit the picture was sent into exile. And now, you live as a half-person, half-aware, half-awake. You chase goals you think you want. You build lives that look good from the outside. You follow paths that were paved for you by fear, by guilt, by expectation. But you wonder, why does it feel hollow? Why does it never fully satisfy? Why does something still ache inside you no matter how much you achieve? Because the truth is brutal. The real power of your life, the real direction you're starving for, isn't found in your persona. It's buried in the parts of yourself you abandoned. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your missing piece. And until you face it, until you open the locked doors inside you, you will remain a stranger to your own soul. You will keep chasing meaning in places that cannot hold it. You will keep mistaking distraction for purpose, comfort for fulfillment, safety for destiny. Carl Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This isn't about self-improvement. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the world taught you to be afraid of your own fire. Your shadow holds not just your darkness, but your purpose, your authenticity, your calling. The question is, will you dare to look? Your shadow didn't appear overnight. It was built, stone by stone, by every moment you were told, don't feel that, don't say that, don't want that. You weren't born ashamed of yourself. You were taught to be. When you cried too loudly, they told you to be quiet. When you showed anger, they told you to be good. When you dreamed too boldly, they told you to be realistic. So you learned to hide, not because you were wrong, not because you were broken, but because you needed to survive. And so piece by piece, you amputated parts of yourself to fit into the narrow spaces the world made for you. Your shadow is made of everything you once needed for survival, but now keeps you from living. Because here's the truth Jung understood. The shadow doesn't just sit quietly in the dark. It acts. It leaks out in ways you don't see. It shapes your choices. It colors your relationships. It whispers into your ambitions. When you overreact without knowing why. When you sabotage opportunities you claim to want. When you stay in pain longer than you need to. That's not fate. That's the shadow pulling the strings. Unseen, unacknowledged, unquestioned. Jung believed that until you turn and face your unconscious, you are not truly free. You are a puppet, reacting, pretending, coping, but never fully choosing. You think you're chasing happiness, but maybe you're running from shame. You think you're striving for success, but maybe you're trying to prove your worth to ghosts from your past. You think you're building a life, but maybe you're building a prison out of the very chains you refuse to see. And the worst part, the more you run from your shadow, the more control it has over you. Because denial doesn't erase it, it empowers it. What you refuse to face rules you, silently, absolutely. And the longer you hide from your own darkness, the further you drift from your real life, the life waiting for you on the other side of fear. The greatest lie you were taught is that facing your darkness will destroy you. That if you open that door, you'll be consumed, broken, lost. But the opposite is true. It's not your darkness that destroys you. It's the constant running from it. Carl Jung believed that the shadow is not your enemy. It's your unclaimed self. The parts of you that were too wild, too honest, too powerful for the small spaces you were forced to fit into. And when you turn to face it, something incredible happens. Not chaos, not collapse, clarity. You begin to understand why you feel what you feel, why you choose what you choose, why you fear what you fear. You begin to see yourself not as broken, but as fragmented, pieces lost along the way, waiting to be returned. The anger you buried, it's your boundary maker. The grief you denied, it's your capacity for love. The ambition you suppressed, it's your call to greatness. The hunger you were shamed for, it's your compass toward a bigger life. Your shadow holds not just your pain, but your power. And the parts of you you've spent years rejecting are often the exact keys to the life you were meant to live. Jung taught, in each of us, there is another whom we do not know. He speaks to us in dreams and tells us how differently he sees us from the way we see ourselves. Your shadow knows what you've forgotten. Your shadow remembers the dreams you buried, the passions you abandoned, the strength you gave up to fit in. And if you are brave enough to listen, to stop fighting, to stop running, to sit quietly with the parts of you that scare you, you will find not a monster, but a map back to yourself. Integration doesn't happen all at once. You don't just meet your shadow and suddenly become whole. It's a slow, uncomfortable, sometimes painful process, because facing your darkness is one thing. Inviting it to live with you, to move through you, to shape you, is something else entirely. Integration means owning what you disowned. It means admitting, yes, I can be selfish. Yes, I carry anger. Yes, I am afraid, jealous, proud, needy. Not as confessions of failure, but as acknowledgments of your full humanity. Jung warned, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls, because real confrontation means giving up the illusion of being purely good, purely noble, purely righteous. It means seeing yourself as you truly are, a collision of light and shadow, virtue and vice, beauty and brutality. And that kind of honesty is terrifying, but it's also the birthplace of true freedom, because once you stop running from your shadow, you stop being controlled by it. Once you see your rage, you can channel it into boundaries, not explosions. Once you see your fear, you can use it to build courage, not cages. Once you see your ambition, you can steer it toward purpose, not empty vanity. Your shadow holds raw energy, power that was locked away because you were too scared, too ashamed, too conditioned to use it. And integration isn't about glorifying darkness. It's about making peace with reality. It's about becoming someone who can hold contradictions, who can walk with brokenness without being broken, who can carry complexity without collapsing under it. Because you are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. And wholeness requires embracing every abandoned part of yourself, even the ones you were taught to hate, even the ones you still fear, especially them. Because your shadow is not against you. It's been waiting for you to come home. The shadow isn't just where you hid your pain. It's where you hid your potential. Every dream you abandoned because you were afraid of failing. Every talent you suppressed because you feared being seen. Every instinct you mistrusted because someone told you it was wrong. It's all still there, waiting. Not as a relic of who you used to be, but as a blueprint for who you're meant to become. Carl Jung believed that true individuation, the process of becoming a whole, fully realized self, was impossible without facing the shadow, because your shadow holds the parts of you most aligned with your destiny, your fiercest passions, your sharpest insights, your deepest calls to meaning. You think your purpose will be found by polishing the persona you show the world, but the truth is brutal. Your purpose is buried in the parts of you you were taught to fear. The parts you thought were shameful, the parts you thought would make you unlovable, the parts you thought would destroy you if you let them breathe. But when you finally turn to face them, when you dig into the dark earth of yourself, instead of running from it, you find seeds you didn't know you planted. You find dreams that never died. You find instincts that were never wrong. You find a life that was always yours, but hidden beneath layers of fear and forgetting. And the work you are called to do in this world, the love you are meant to give, the gifts you are meant to create, the change you are meant to embody, it will not come from the shallow surface of your persona. It will come from the deep well of your reclaimed wholeness. Jung knew, your shadow holds your purpose hostage, and freedom comes not from denying it, but from setting it free, not by erasing your darkness, but by integrating it into the fire that lights your way forward. Because only when you are whole, light and dark, wounds and wisdom, can you live the life you were truly meant to live. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be whole. You were never meant to live a life polished for approval, stripped of anger, grief, ambition, desire. You were meant to be raw, honest, complex. You were meant to carry contradictions, to feel the clash of fear and courage, rage and tenderness, love and loss. Because only in that fullness, only when you stop amputating your own soul, do you become strong enough to live your true life. Carl Jung didn't promise that facing your shadow would be easy. He promised it would be necessary. Necessary if you want to live freely. Necessary if you want to love deeply. Necessary if you want to create, to give, to lead, to endure the life you're searching for. The one that feels real, that feels like yours. It's not found by becoming more acceptable. It's found by becoming more authentic. And authenticity requires a descent into yourself, into the forgotten chambers, into the abandoned rooms, into the shadows. You are not here to be a hollow version of yourself. You are not here to perform a sanitized idea of who you think you should be. You are here to remember what you were before fear rewrote your story. And that story, your real story, is still waiting for you. Not out there, not someday, but right now, inside you, in the place you were once too afraid to look. Your shadow is not your curse, it's your calling.